Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been about 2 months since I did my last video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And in today's video, I'm going to show how, or one of the simple method which I use to identify Bitcoin top. Okay, and the method is known as Wyckoff method. So for most of you, you might not heard of this method. I won't go into the history of Wyckoff method and the founder. Okay, let's dive directly, okay, into the important part here. You can look this up. It's so hard. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a while since my last video. It's been about 2 months, I think, since I made my last video. So in today's video, here's a simple method which I use to identify Bitcoin top. Okay, and it's known as the Wyckoff method. So for those watching, some of you might heard before of the Wyckoff method. Some of you might not heard before of this method. But I'm not going to go into the history, okay, of Wyckoff's method. You can look this up in the internet. There is plenty of there's a long story about Wyckoff's method. What we're going to do is we're going to look at how this method relates with the top and also the bottom of Bitcoin. Okay. Now, before talking about Wyckoff's method, let's look at Bitcoin's price action. As always, we will use line chart. So as you can see, Bitcoin has been ranging in between 73,000 and 58,000 for almost 3 months. Okay, this happened before the halving, and until today there is no major drop or major pump. Now, coming back to Wyckoff's method, there are two important parts or components to Wyckoff's method. So the first one will be the accumulation area or the oversold area, and the second one will be the distribution or overbought area. All right, let's zoom in a bit. So if you look back, okay, at Bitcoin, let's delete this. Bitcoin is currently in a distribution area. Okay, so distribution happens at the top. All right, and accumulation happens at the bottom. So in accumulation area is where the 1%, okay, it's where the big bank, the central banks, the hedge funds accumulate or buy. And at the distribution area, this is where all the 1% start to sell. Okay, so as you can see, in this current cycle and the past cycle, notice that at the tops there will be distribution. Okay, at the tops there will be distribution, and at the bottom there will be accumulation. So let's just use the orange color. Okay, let's look back at previous cycles. See, we have accumulations at bottoms, all right, and we have distributions at the top. Okay, you guys must understand in every cycle there will be distributions and there will be accumulation. So what happens in between? What happens in between? There will be a price pump, which is known as a markup, okay, from the accumulation to the distribution, and then there will be a price drop, which is known as the markdown, and the cycle will repeat. So the markup has happened actually, all right? I just draw the line here. The markup has happened actually even before the halving, if you notice, okay? In the last cycle, the markup happened after the halving. So the last cycle, the halving happened around May 2020. Yeah, there was no big movements before that, except for the big drop due to COVID. And since then, we've seen a rally, okay? There was another markup, okay? This was the second pump, or the second top, that during the last cycle, and in between this we have markdowns, okay? We have markdowns. All right, so this was the bear cycle, and then there was a major markup, and now we are in, as you can see, all right, this is my point of view. As you can see, it's in a distribution area. So let's go back to Wyckoff's method. Now let's zoom in. Okay, I want to zoom in to what is happening currently. Okay, what is happening currently, which is this area. Now in Wyckoff's method, there are two parts, as I mentioned. The first part is accumulation, the second part is the distribution, and in every part there will be two schematic. Okay, there will be two schematic. I will skip the accumulation method and let's go straight into distribution method for today's video. All right, in the future I might talk about accumulation, but in today's video let's focus on the distribution part. Now in the distribution part, there are two schematics, okay, the first and the second. So in today's video, we will focus on the second schematic. Now, I won't go through all of these, what do we call it, phases, okay? So there are 5 phases, basically. So the markup happened, the distribution, and then we have the markdown. Now, I won't go through all of this, what we call this, Wyckoff's event. Yeah, these are called Wyckoff's event. Okay, it's too much to talk about. You can you can look this up in the internet. Okay, look this up in the internet and go through slowly. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on phase A and phase B, which I believe we are currently in. So when you look in phase A, okay, let's just bring this windows side by side. Okay, let's just reduce this a little, maybe a little more. Okay, and let's just delete everything. Now, what can you see? What can you see? Let's just make this smaller a bit. I think this is better. Okay. So a markup just happened. All right, a markup just happened, and now we are currently ranging. Okay, we're currently in the distribution phase. So the first peak happened before the halving, which is known as the BC, okay, which is known as BC. And as you can see, in phase A, all right, after the first peak, there will be some correction followed by a drop, okay, a low. We call this a low, a new low, which is known as SOW. So if you look at Bitcoin's chart, we have a low here. Just let me label it BC SOW, right? So let's put some lines. Okay, see, SOW happens in phase B, so I believe we are in phase B. Okay, BC, which is the first peak, happened in phase A. So this was the first peak. Now price is stuck in between, and we have yet to see the second peak, which is known as UT. Okay, UT. So after the second peak, price will normally range. Okay, after the second peak, price will normally range and lose momentum where it enters phase C, and it eventually change its direction. Okay, change its trend, which is known as phase D. So there is still time. Okay, there is still time for Bitcoin to do its thing. This is just my 2 cents. Okay, please do your own research. Let me know in the comment what you guys think about it. Okay, let's compare it side by side. This can happen. I'm not saying that it will happen, but this can happen. Okay, this can happen. So we all know, if you zoom out, that a major markup has just happened. Okay, before the halving. That's why this cycle is a little bit weird. If you look at, okay, let's delete this. If you look at previous cycle, markups happen only after the halving. All right, markups only happen after the halving. But for this cycle, it's a little weird because the major markup has already happened. So I think that's all about it. You guys stay tuned. We'll talk more on the next video. Okay, we'll talk more on the next video. And as always, stay safe during these uncertain times. Stay reserved, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.